And hello, team. Welcome to week one as we kick into the pillars of great project management supervision. So, here's kind of an introduction on the PMBOK guide. I have already provided online a free version of the PMBOK guide, current version, which is PMBOK guide version 7. The PMBOK guide stands for Project Management Body of Knowledge, hence and it's a guide, so hence PMBOK guide. There are lots of bodies of knowledge. This one is the one that defines project management. You'll find knowledge management body of knowledges. They call that the KMBOK. You'll find the contract management body of knowledge. They call that the CMBOK. You'll find the business analyst body of knowledge. They call that the BABOK, etc. My point to the PMBOK guide is it's not a cookbook. You can't start on page 1, go to page 320 roughly, and have a successful project. Projects require constant integration. In that integration, you are resolving conflicts and overcoming issues, which means you're constantly reprioritizing. As you reprioritize your project, you are always tailoring. And so this requires constant leadership focus, as well as the other pillars, management, technical, and interpersonal skills. So the project manager's job is really an integration manager. You're providing constant, refined approach to the PMBOK standards in order to drive your successful project. We spend all day making trade-offs to accomplish the project objective and to accomplish the needs of our stakeholders, right? So we want to think about, just chew on the idea. You could pause the video. What influences our projects in your industry if you're already working as a project manager? Or you could think back to your military career. What influenced the projects? Was it a resource issue in the military? Not often. Was it a senior leadership issue in the military? Quite often, right? And etc. Have some fun with that. Because one of the key points to this week one, is to understand that as project management supervisors, great project managers are always developing these 4 skills: leadership skills, management skills, interpersonal skills, and technical skills. All project managers are developing these, but great project managers are doing it as a learning leader, constantly accelerating, constantly growing these skills, knowing that you're never perfect at any of them, yet you are working on all of them all the time. And if you feel like you lack 1 or 2 of these skills, make sure you hire people onto your project team that can help fill those gaps. If you don't have great interpersonal skills, it doesn't make you bad. We all have weaknesses, right? It means work on it. But while you're working on it, hire somebody that does and have them whisper in your ear. I will also note under interpersonal skills, goes by several other names nowadays. These are soft skills. Sometimes we call these emotional quotient, or EQ. They're also known as emotional intelligence, or EI, right? So it goes by several names. If you do a Google search, you'll find some links on the Moodle site week one. I also would like to note that technical skills actually has 2 sub areas to it. One sub area are technical project management skills. You'll learn that in the PMBOK guide and in some of these courses in project management. The technical skills like earned value management is a technical skill. Conflict management, motivational theory, etc. Tracking risks and planning for them. These are technical project management skills. You'll also need some technical skills in your industry. If it's construction, you need to know the language of construction so you can identify risks, ask the right questions, understand what your engineers are saying to you, and vice versa. If it's IT, you need to know some of the language of the network. If it's cybersecurity, you need to know the language of malware and web filtering and things of this nature, right? So technical skills really has two sub areas. The technical skills as a project manager that you'll use, like a burn down chart, or the technical skills in your industry lightly, right? You don't have to be knee deep. You're the project manager. You're the master integrator. So you'll have engineers working for you, but you need to be able to speak the language and hear risks when somebody mentions something. But all four of these pillars make a great project manager. Assess yourself continually. Now, in project management, we are steeped in those four pillars. Two of them, as I mentioned, leadership and management skills. How are they different? You ask yourself. Well, if I'm a leader, I'm focusing on the what and the why, versus a manager, which is the how or the when, more of a doer approach, right? As a leader, I'm looking at the long range view versus management short range. I would say this as a fishing example, right? Everybody is at the shore collecting fish and collecting the nets that are being pulled in, right? Those are managers doing the tasks, recording things. As a leader, I'm taking my fishing line and I'm throwing it way out into the middle of the lake, and I'm reeling it in as I move the rod and the line back and forth, left to right, to see where the next big catch is. Kind of meant as an analogy to demonstrate leadership versus management. If I'm management, I am recording budget expenditures. I'm monitoring the budget. If I'm a leader, I am setting the vision and telling my team to leap into the gap, to fill the breach, right? To take that hill, to use military ideas, right? So leadership is focusing on empowerment, where management is more of a systems and controls. It's a structural thing. That Excel spreadsheet that is provided in this course called Project Management Tools for Supervisors, it is chock full of management tools, right? It helps you do things right versus leadership, which is making sure the team does the right thing in that long-term vision and focus. So frankly, sometimes I use this as an icebreaker, but some of your favorite quotes, Ralph Waldo Emerson, do not follow where the path may lead. Go instead where there's no path and leave a trail. That's a great quote. Do I really buy into it completely? Well, not really, right? Because sometimes go instead where there is no path. Sometimes there's no path for a reason. So we want to really be careful of any quotes that we bring into the fight that help mold our team or ourselves to be the leader or manager that we want to be. But I encourage you to pick a quote and use it for a while and then rotate it out, something that drives your change of behavior, that builds on those four pillars. I love the John Quincy Adams quote. He's the son of John Adams, who was our second president. And I think John Quincy was our fourth. But he says, if your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and become more, you are a leader. I love that. I really don't have any issues with that one. In a discussion, you might, that's okay. Find one that works for you. Put it on your email under your signature block. Use it for a while to help frame and build your pillars. And then change it out once in a while is my recommendation. So while you're doing that, ask yourself, what is a leader, right? Develop your own, find your own favorite quote, or create your own if you want to, right? Because choosing a leadership quote are some of the tools that we can use to change how we think. Our brain is the leadership skills, management skills, interpersonal skills, technical skills. These are muscles, like the muscles that have to be worked out at a gym. So we've got to imbibe in these concepts. What are our gaps? Find a quote that fills it and think on that, right? You could do the same with an avatar character. It doesn't have to be a leadership quote. It could be your favorite avatar character. Who do you want to be like? Right? She-Hulk, Wonder Woman, Superman, right? Find it and make that part of your life, right? Think about what do you believe are the key elements of leadership. You need to spend some time. For me, I would offer that leadership is the essence of influence. Leadership is influence. If I can influence my team to achieve a common objective, I think that is a good starting point for a leader. But come up with your own, right? And what do you associate with that? So here's some quotes through time about leadership. What is leadership? And as you read these quotes, I really kind of like this, a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. That's very similar to what I just said. It's the art of influence. Notice here, back just after World War I, the ability to impress the will of the leader on those led. No, that was never leadership. So even though some of these were taken as leadership quotes, this one, the same. Even though they were taken as leadership quotes, they were never really leadership. I want to make that point, right? So leadership hasn't evolved. A leader has always been a leader. Patton was a great leader, but was not these. There's a movie, Paths of Glory, where the colonel, the American colonel, it's a World War I movie, was a great leader, but the generals above him who really did aspire to these kind of quotes were not. So great leadership has always been easily identified and had a common thread throughout history. Not all of these subscribe to that. The movie We Were Soldiers, that's a great leader. The colonel that drove that organization in the first Battle of Vietnam, if you've not seen that movie. And the list goes on and on. But what I want to point out is some of these, even though these are leadership quotes, and you read some, they're not all leadership quotes, right? So be careful. But this one clearly is, right? I like that a lot. Okay, so defining a leader. I ask you to think about what is leadership definition. Can you be in a leadership position and not be a leader? I would say absolutely. Aren't we all leader and follower at the same time? In fact, quite often when we're the formal leader, but like the project manager, but we don't have the technical skill like our engineer, the engineer becomes the leader, right? Doesn't mean they aren't reined back in by your integration of budget, scope, schedule, project management concepts, right? So you're the formal leader, but they will be a leader in a technical approach, right? And what's that distinction? Think about that for a while and the qualities that you identify with the leadership. That's really what I'd like you to begin chewing on, because you are becoming a learning leader in these 4 pillars for the rest of your life: leadership skills, management skills, interpersonal skills, and technical skills. So being a leader, it is shared, right? Doesn't mean doing it all by yourself, nor does it mean always being the one out in front, right? Leadership is a shared communication. Chew on that also for a while. It's a great concept. I'm going to take a break there. We're going to come back with one more lecture for this week. And that lecture will be on emotional quotient and a few other quick concepts. Then we'll look at the issues log that I'd like you to fill out. So we'll be back for part 2 in just a moment.